Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Tom McKenzie with Stephen Carroll. We're joined now by Bloomberg's Market Today editor, Sam Unstead. And Sam, the wind seems to be going out of Orsted's sails. What is behind their, more than 25% slump in the markets today? What a hit for Orsted.
Yeah, so raising money. So they're doing a really very significant rights issue. I think actually what's really hitting them today, so when a company does a big rights issue like this, their shares will almost always fall. But what's behind this as well is that part of the reason they're having to raise money is because they are not able now to sell off a partial stake in Sunrise Wind in the US because the market there has got so much weaker. So they now have to keep that and are having to raise funding in order to keep that on their books and be able to fund that business, going forward. So that is, underlying all of this, very, very negative. There have been lots of concerns about the balance sheet for a little while as well. So this is all being compounded in this very, very large rights issue, which I think they probably hope will be the kind of kitchen sink moment and then the new base that they can operate from.
Yeah, okay, but a pretty significant slump in those shares. You're down almost 26% in Copenhagen. S4 Capital also, some news from them this morning. MSQ, would we put that together and get more than just a bad Scrabble hat?
Yes. So S4 Capital, so actually quite a small stock now. So this is the company that was founded by Martin Sorrell after he left WPP. From their peak in 2021 to now, their shares have dropped about 97%. So very, very significant drop. All the kind of issues that have been going on in the advertising industry have hit them very hard, particularly a pullback in spending by tech companies. They confirmed this morning they are in talks to merge with MSQ, which is another ad agency owned by private equity company One Equity. Interestingly, it would be structured that S4 Capital would buy MSQ or sort of merge with MSQ that way. There's no real details on that because the only statement we've had out is very short at the moment. So the structure of it is a little bit confusing. But S4 Capital shares up, but as I just mentioned, they are up from a very low level.
And in a very different space, so from advertising this time to defence, Rheinmetall leading the defence sector down this morning. This has been a favourite bet, of course, for those expecting that fiscal stimulus and that fiscal spend on defence, particularly out of Germany. And it's performed, of course, incredibly well in the last 18 months or so. But today it's a slightly different story for Rheinmetall.
Yes, I think there's the sort of key reason behind this is this meeting that's coming up between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, the question of whether that will lead to a ceasefire. I think for the most part, the fundamental story for defence stocks, which has sent them much, much higher over the last really sort of 2.5-3 years, is higher defence spending, particularly across Europe, but really globally. However, we actually had some comments out over the course of the last week or so that these companies now, that story is already priced in. And what investors are now looking for is that next catalyst, and particularly those orders and that increasing defence spending to actually show up in the bottom line. So defence stocks overall seeing a little bit of a sell-off today.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.